All right. Hey, everybody. This is Petra with the Rebels Den, and with me I have Ron Setz, who is known in the metal community as the Level Out Marsher, but he's also about to launch his very own business, Vibrant Energy Actuation. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Thanks for joining me here today.
My pleasure.
Mutual friend of ours, Matt Poe from Season, says you've got to talk to him, Ron. He's a great guy. You're up to great stuff. Here's the thing: I know about you. I've seen you around. We've crossed paths. And here's the honest truth: I may not like you very loud at 6 o'clock in the morning, but I love your message. Right? I love your
Thank you.
message. It's very positive. Why? Why level up, Marshall? Why this positivity? All of that.
Oh, wow. Well, for starters, like so many people in the world, 7.8 billion plus to be exact. We struggle. We struggle with life, and we have to find an outlet in what makes us happy, no matter what the situation is, or no matter what situation we are in and are going through. At 34 years old, I realized that I've done enough stupid shit with my life to continuously keep going down the same rabbit hole and trying to find different results for it. So when I went to my first festival at Metal in the Mountains in Pipestem, West Virginia, that was an eye opener for me. That was a reality check for me. I had already dealt with enough loss and had unfortunately ended a long relationship of 4 years and came out with a beautiful daughter out of it. But at that point at Metal in the Mountains, I realized that there had to be something positive for me to do with my life, especially with degrees, having a education and just sitting on that, I didn't want to be another statistic of just educated young man who is doing nothing with his life. So took some time. The overall reason for the positivity is because there's so much negative in the world outside of our own minds, and we have to sometimes step outside of our minds and realize that there is good in the world. We just have to be a part of it. So I choose to be a part of the good in the world instead of allowing the negative things in my own head and in the world to try to define who I am as a person overall.
I really, really love that because I feel very similar in a head, turning points for reasons. I grew up in foster care, so I have my own statistics following me behind me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm a child of the foster system. Been adopted twice, foster care 3 times, multiple homes. My buddies would always call it C to signing C when you're bouncing from group home to group home. It's always in a different state, different town, different county, different area. So that gets old. And that was the statistic that I had for quite some time. And as you get older,
I love that. See, I knew Matt knew what he was doing when he said you gotta talk to Ron, because here's the thing about foster kids, and I don't know if this is true for you, but for me, when I said I was a foster kid, they looked at me like I was the bad person and not my parents. Like, not saying my parents are bad, but they're the ones at fault for this, right? For this whole situation, not me. But I was the one that got all the feedback and all the slack over being a foster kid.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, for sure. That makes sense. For me, it was I was a rebel. No one could tell me anything because no one wanted to listen to me when I was crying out being sexually abused or being abused. There's a difference between when you hear abuse and abused. Like
Absolutely.
There's a different sound. It's kind of like bass and bass. There's a
there it is. I was waiting for that.
So I mean, there's a huge difference. Um, it, when you're in the system, it feels as though that you don't matter. It's like you're just a number. I was always considered a money tree. I took that from one of my adopted sisters. She donned me as a money tree. She was like, "Well, you're the most expensive child in the house," and I'm like, "Well, damn!" Like, so yeah, it's universal, and there are a lot of kids even still out there that and I think for me that's what really where it comes from. I think about my childhood every single time I go live. I deal with my own demons just as I'm sure as you
Oh
do or
yeah,
anyone.
absolutely.
Um,
Every day.
but those demons sometimes keep me in the bed. Sometimes those demons rise me up and put me inside of a McDonald's and having an interview. So
Well, there's that, right?
you just gotta level up.
There it is again. Um, but it's very about. Here's the thing: you are pursuing your dreams and your goals, going into motivational speaking to help people find that positivity in their life, no matter where they are,
Yes.
no matter what their
No.
path is, right? And that
Yes,
can
ma'am.
be very, very challenging. I mean, I know from experience how hard this is. You know, a foster kid, immigrant, special needs parent. I mean, it can't get more complicated from this.
It just can't get. I mean, you got that's like called the domino effect. What you got going on?
But here I am, and I don't know if you like. I've been through all this crap, but I don't necessarily look at it as crap. You know what I mean? Like I look at it
Yes,
as
ma'am.
fuel. It's my fire for one,
Yes. Oh, that's awesome.
and
Yes.
it's there's purpose and there's lessons I have taken from that.
Yes.
Being a foster kid was the best thing that's ever happened to me.
I agree. I agree for myself. I agree with that. It poses its challenges because in that situation you kind of unfortunately fall into different identities, and those identities are not identities of your own but identities of others who speak negative on you, and you build that identity within yourself. I apologize for the background noise ahead of time. But that was probably one of my biggest struggles growing up as a young man, was definitely dealing with the difficulties and the identities. And I grew up in New York, born and raised in New York, got adopted from New York, went to Virginia, and just traveled. So it still kind of hints out the name of vibrant energy. So wherever I go, I definitely I don't want to be big name. I don't want to go and do talk shows across the world or anything like that, but I do want those individuals who are in the metal scene, in the rap scene, in the gospel scene, in the homeless scene, in the foster cares. Listen, there are voices out there that want to hear what it is that they're going through. At 34 years old, I can't imagine what it would be now to be in the adoption and or foster care system. I can't imagine. But back in 92, 93, 85, coming out at birth, I could relive that, and it would daunt me. Like seriously, trying to relive that same life now, I won't be here. That's the God honest truth.
No, and I get that. I mean, because I identify with the rebel, hence the business being the rebel's den. Because
Yes.
I'm still that. I'm still quite the rebel.
I love it.
Whatever I want. But for me, adolescent was probably the most challenging period of my life.
Yes, ma'am.
Sex, drugs, and alcohol, rock and roll, and alcohol, and all that other good stuff. It happened, and
Fucking Slayer.
there was this point where like, well, I can either go this way and become like my parents, which I said I wasn't going to be, and be
Yes.
homeless, be drug addict, or I go this way, and here I am today, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Was that for you specifically, Metal in the Mountains, or was there nudges before then where you're like, oh yes, but you kind of tapped into that victimhood of it, you know what I mean?
I kind of felt like you were going to ask this question, and I actually, I'm very grateful that you asked this question. Wow, that you're awesome. I was sitting up until about 12 o'clock last night, and I was just kind of brainstorming. I was writing things down, and I was like, I don't know what Petra could possibly ask me, so I'm gonna just go ahead and just write some things down. And for me, it started. I honestly cannot let you know. It's not that I can't let you know. I just can't tell you. I can say that there were different phases in my life where I didn't realize I leveled up. and you know, and I did. And that saying of level up resonates in my head so much. It's on a gaming system. It was something that I was going around at Metal in the Mountain screaming, because I mean, I just do improvs with my voice, and people are like, well, you can just do anything. And I was like, well, why don't you just level up? And they're like, oh, okay, well. So it stuck. To more realistically, in reality, right now, I would have to say it was when I was 23, 24 years old. I lost my father. I lost my dad to bone marrow cancer. My father, Ronald Anthony Setz, and my mom, Marcia Setz, both, may they rest in peace, they both have passed. My mom had a massive heart attack, but they were very loving, very caring, very, very encouraging. They were both also very nostalgic in the way that they wanted you to learn this thing that we call life. My dad was humbled, more stern. He was stern and humbled in the same in the same sentence. And I know that's very rare. That's a very rare find. You know, it was the words that he didn't say made the most impact to me. And it did not take until after he passed for me to actually understand what it was that he was saying. Um,
I feel that.
yeah. More and more I think about my dad, I think about, you know, fathers prior to, those group home counselors who were there for me and who wanted the best for me, who saw the best in me. And I'm like, whatever, get out of my
Oh,
face.
I know
You
that one.
know, I've told so many people at a very young age to get out of my face. Like now it's like, I mean, I dare not, because I remember how I felt as that child, like running away from help, but I was doing things that had a cry for help. Like I
Yeah.
was doing things like, listen, like this is happening to me. I know it's happening to so many other people. Why isn't anyone doing anything? And that became a very, very critical thing in my life, uh, growing up, and it made me the man that I am today. Pros, cons, flaws, all that good jazz. It, 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 it has been challenging, now, especially moving forward, because every day seems like it's a little bit harder, because I don't have my dad. Like
Yeah.
I'm living out a dream in which I can only imagine that my father would want me to have, if that makes sense.
No,
Um,
it
in
really
the
does.
best positive way, the best
Yeah.
positive way that I possibly can. So yeah,
No,
hopefully
I totally feel that, because I will tell you, I failed school terribly. And if it wasn't for one social worker, because I was in the system since I was like, tiny, right?
yeah,
She told me I was failing a grade, and she said, Petra, you're not stupid.
yeah,
That's all
yeah,
she said. And I'm 15 years old going, screw you, lady. Like, you don't know anything
yeah.
about me.
Who are you? Who are
Right?
you? You
But
know nothing.
now when I face challenges and I doubt my own abilities and skills, she's the lady in my head.
Yes, heard that. Ah, that's
Right?
awesome. Yeah.
She's the lady
For
in my head. And it's like, oh, well, she believed in me. If she believed in me, why can't I believe in me?
yeah, exactly. And it takes time. It takes time, and I think that's the biggest thing that, you know, moving forward with this business is the biggest thing that I have to be patient with myself. I'm not perfect. I'm not, like I said, I did a video earlier today, and I said, I'm not going to say everything that, you know, you want me to say, and you're not going to like everything that I have to say, but I hope that something that I have said has touched a nerve, you know, to
Yeah.
like, all right, you know what, I do got this, you know. That's the overall goal. Like, you know, we live in this fantasy world sometimes where we just want to wake up and just want everything literally hit to us. We want coffee already there at the bedside. You know, you don't want to, you don't do anything that's going to involve your hands to move any more than what they have to. And in a fantasy world, yeah, that can happen. I want that. I'm a realist. You know, that's not
We
reality.
all have
Um,
dreams that we aspire to,
we,
right? So, I mean,
hey, we got to. We
why
got
not?
to. Why not? Why not? I mean, if I get a robot that can self-serve me, then I'm signing up for
Why not? Here's
it.
the thing, as you were talking about doing your video, and
Yeah.
I've seen some of your videos. I mean, I've stalked you Not internet bad kind of woman. Yeah. Don't trust.
I understand. I do have a stalker frenzy. I do have a stalker following.
But
So
here's the
hello,
thing that,
all
that
my
struck
stalkers
me
out
with
there.
your, as you were saying, is about your video that you're not always going to say what people want to hear. In
Yes,
order,
ma'am.
and this is the thought I had, in order to create change, you have to strike a nerve.
Yes, yes. I do
You
believe that I
have
strike
to
a nerve
strike a
every
nerve.
time I go live. I do personally believe that I strike a nerve every time that I go live. I do not go live with the intention on trying to hurt and or trying to bring uh, a clamshell of anger or hatred or rage or anything like that, because I know it's ultimately going to come back onto me. I know
Yeah,
that. That's never the intent. That's never ever the intent. That I look at life and as the world that we live in isn't a negative place. It just depends on where you're at in your life that makes it so negative. And I say it so often in the videos, you know, my life begins with me. The moment that I wake up and decide to put my feet up on the bed, on the floor, then that starts with me. That doesn't start with anyone. I can't call you and ask you to get me up out of the bed and live my life. Like, I can't do that. You know,
right.
you can be an alarm clock for me. That'll be great, you know, but at the end of the day, like, I still have to get up. So you know, so many times it's been questioned to me, you know, why level up? You know, what does it mean? You know, and it really and truly means not allowing adoption, you know, abuse, being separated from my kids, you know, failed relationships, you know, those things happen for a reason. You know, we see all these special sayings, things happen for a reason, things happen for a season, all that good jazz. And it rings bells in lives, you know, and some people can actually just look at it and just be like, all right, I'm done. That's cool. That's great. I register with it. Thumbs up. Let's go ahead and send
Yeah.
a heart, like, and a smile and an angry face. But for me, I'm a feeling person. I think with my mind and I respond with my heart, but I sit in silence. Even as I'm talking to you right now, I'm thinking about, damn, like, Christmas is next week. You know, I got to be in Richmond on the 25th next month, you know? So
So
these
I
things
get that.
are mine. So yeah, for sure.
So here's the thing, knowing everything
Yes,
you
ma'am.
just shared, including the demons that you still wrestle with, you have those
Absolutely.
days, you have those challenging days on screw it, I don't want to get out of bed today, the world can just fuck off.
Yes.
How do you
Yes.
go through that? So, and it's not necessarily just for foster kids. Anybody can go through that. Anybody does go through that, some more than others. How do you get out of bed?
How do I get out of bed?
Yeah, when you have those really hard days, like how do you get yourself going, you know what? I got to put these feet on the floor.
Well, there was a time in my life, there were several times in my life where suicide was the only option.
Hmm.
That was the only thought process of a positive outlet for me. Um, Growing up young, when I was young, family members wanted to diagnose me, you know, with everything underneath of the sun. And if I pulled out that medical record, you'd be like, holy shit, I can't believe I'm talking to this
Oh, no,
guy.
I do believe that. I've been around
um,
the
I think back on those times. I think back on those times. You mentioned, you kind of hinted towards what gets me out of the bed every day, and that's the fuel of knowing where I come from. Always knowing. I always say it. You know, never forget where you come from, but always know where you're going. Something that my father said to me. Something that, you know, multiple counselors, Judge Oxenham, a judge that dealt with children adoption and foster care when I was young. I was 8 years old, and she said that to me. She said that to me a few times because I would constantly be in front of her, going to a different family or group home, and
Yeah.
she said, "Never forget where you're going. Never forget where you come from, but always remember where you're going." And I've held on to that for quite some time. The thing that gets me out of the bed the most right now in my life is knowing that even though I am not with my daughter currently, that I will be there. Knowing that every day that I put my face in front of a camera and I really and truly make myself vulnerable, to be honest with you. I think that's one thing that is missing in a world. Like, you know, I don't do anything from a script. I just go and just talk everyday life things, you know, and they're personable to me, but they have a outreach to so many other, like so many people. And it gets me out of bed. It gets me out of bed. I love to live, you know, my will and desire and fuel to live gets me out of bed every single day. And it is still hard. Don't get me wrong. It's hard. Sometimes I hit that alarm, that snooze button 10, 11, 12 times. I am not sitting before you as a perfect man. This morning, I hit the snooze button 5 times. You know, I mean, I don't do the morning motivations in the morning anymore due to the fact that it's hard. It's hard. You know, winter season, I'm a Capricorn. It's cold season. It's flu season. It is that time of the year where, you know, this is the type of weather where you want to stay snuggled up in the bed, no matter how you're feeling. But ultimately, that is also like that's a devil's workshop, is that pillow at times, because, you know, you just think.
Yeah, I get it. For sure. Right. So somebody watching this interview, listening to it, and they have dreams and they have goals, but they also are still stuck, right? They haven't quite figured out what this world is all about for themselves. What advice would you give them to kind of get started or to pursue it or whatever?
Billy Wright, also known as the Midnight Masha with the Cogs of War, once told me at Blue Ridge Rock Fest, he said these words to me. He said, Ron, one day you're going to make an impact on the world that they don't even see coming. Keep in mind, we were drunk, and this is 3 o'clock in the morning. So, so for my brother to sit here and make that comment to me, and this was at Blue Ridge Rock Fest, and I held on to that. I really did. You know, there are words and there are people out there that are in our lives, and we pay a monthly rate for phone bills, car notes, rent. You know, if we can just continue to press forward and having that determination and motivation to do those things, getting up and going to work, why can't we live our life? You know, I literally am sitting in a McDonald's right now, having this interview with you, with zero cares about the individuals that are standing to my left and to my right, watching me talk to you. Because that's
all I got on that one.
this is my life. You know, this isn't work. If nothing in the world is ever going to be handed to us, it's never going to be handed to us, and you got to go get it. You got to go get it. It's going to take blood. It's going to take sweat. It's going to take tears. It's going to take haters. It's going to take going into places where you probably shouldn't be. You probably shouldn't be there. But if you're going in there with positive intentions, then people see light. Like, you see that light sitting behind me. I see the light sitting behind you, but I also see the light in you. And when people see that light that is radiating within us, and then there's nothing that can stop that. People see vulnerability, people see weakness, but they don't see the lion and the fire that is really within that person.
Yeah.
That's a reality. Like, you know, you'll be surprised what you will be drawn to do when put underneath of fire.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love that. This is a great message. I absolutely love that. So with that being said, I know you're just getting ready to kick everything off with your business, but if people want to reach out to you and maybe have a conversation with you, or to just connect, right, where can they go to do that?
Right now I am on the upload of Facebook. I also have, we're going to be coming out with a YouTube, myself and the Masha administrative team is going to be coming out with a full-fledged YouTube. Coming January 1st, we're going to be redeveloping everything. Right now, I am on the Ron J Sets on Facebook. And then there is the Level Up Masha Facebook page. That is LVUP Masha, all one word. And it is like that due to the fact of Facebook and all their, you know, people want the Level Up Masha. I really don't care about the name, because as I said today, it's my identity. I mean, I am Ron J Sets, known as the Level Up Masha. At the end of the day, we're going to continue to positive train, keep that moving. So
Yeah.
we're going to be on YouTube. We're on YouTube right now. Level Up Mosh are all one word as well. No videos are posted yet, but come January 1st, we will have business page running. We will have all the content that we need to continue to spread the positive word. But other than that, just Messenger. I'm sitting here and actually been answering and talking to people as we sit now. If I don't get back to them immediately, then I will be getting to you sooner than soon.
Yeah.
Patience virtue. So that's
I
how that
love
works.
that. Well, thank you so much for being part of this vacation and being so transparent about some of the challenges, because it can be really, really hard. I love the vulnerability because we definitely need
Yeah.
to do that. So thank you.
It's a real thing, and it's very important that we as individuals, as people, we gotta understand that there are feelings that we want to hide, and the moment. I find it very funny that the moment someone else places a characteristic on us or try to define our character, we get offensive about it. We get upset about it. But the moment that we come out and I'm telling you, hey, I'm human. I'm a vulnerable being. I'm a feel guy. Like at the end of the day, I sit back, I resolve my life, I deal with my own demons, but I'm able to talk to. It's easier to talk about them because I don't deal with those same people. I don't deal with those same situations. Not to say that life is perfect. Not to say that life is perfect. Life is it's hell on wheels, but you just got to make sure that you got the steering wheel. That's all.
Right. Well, thanks again so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Thank you very much. I hope you guys have a beautiful evening. Thank you.